What's up everybody, MisterToolbox back with another block rockin' beat. This video will contain neither beats nor block rockin', but we will be taking a look at tag points. We'll add a couple to a level and we will show how we can continue to make these levels more dynamic. Let's get started. For this video we're going to use the output of our proximity trigger test. I've got it here in Open Recent, so I'm going to click that to load it up. I'll throw an annotation on screen linking to that video. If you don't feel like going through it, it's okay. All you need is a blank level with a proximity trigger in it. To show off what tag points do, we need to add a tag point to our scene. So I'll come here to the roll-up bar, click AI, and then down here at the bottom right you will see tag point. I'll click that, bring the mouse out here into the viewport, and I'm going to put it about here so that we can see it when we roll into that proximity trigger. Proximity triggers themselves aren't visible in the world, so we'll need one more object to make this work. I'm going to head into the roll-up bar, click Geom Entity. We'll expand Objects, and then the Getting Started assets. And I'll grab a GS sphere. I like using the sphere. And we'll put that over to the left of our proximity trigger. Just like we did with our trigger volume, I'm going to go ahead and paint the terrain underneath our tag point so we can see where our object's supposed to end up. So we'll click the terrain button in the roll-up bar. We'll go to Layer Painter, click Color. I'll select red for this guy. Click OK. Zoom over under this thing and we'll just paint that spot a little bit. That'll give us a nice view of where our sphere is supposed to end up. So now let's add some behavior. I'm going to go ahead and click on our proximity trigger. I'll right click, expand flow graphs, and open up our FG prox. So first things first, let's get this delay out of here. So we'll just click that node, press delete. Then we'll drag off of leave and set that to disable our light. So that's back to the way we had it, where as soon as you leave, that light's going to disable. We need to add a reference to our tag point to our flow graph, so I'm going to grab this window, slide it out of the way. In the viewport, select that tag point, slide flow graph back in. Then I can right click in an empty space and choose selected entity. Perfect. The last node we need to get things working is the move entity to node. So I'm going to come up to search keyword, I'll type the word move. And then under the movement category, we have move entity to. I'll grab that, drop it in our main view. And you'll see that choose entity is highlighted in red. It's currently not set to anything. So what I'll need to do is grab my flow graph window, get it out of the way. In our main viewport, I'll go ahead and left click on GS sphere, bring flow graph back into view, and then we can right click where it says choose entity and select Assign Selected Entity. Now that we've got those nodes in place, let's connect them up. We'll take the enter on the proximity trigger and we'll set that to the start on our movement node. Again with leave, we'll take the leave pin and drag it to stop. For position, we will take the position output of that tag point, plug it into destination on our move entity 2. And then down here where you see value, this is where we set the speed of that movement. I'm going to go ahead and set that to 2. So I'll press 2, enter. What we've got when this is all put together is when the player enters a proximity trigger, the light's going to turn on. It's also going to start this move at a speed of 2 from where the GS sphere is to where we place that tag point. So when we play this live, what we should see is that sphere moving left to right into that red painted area. Let's give it a test. I've closed the flow graph window and I'm ready to give it a shot, so I will click out in the viewport and then I'll press Ctrl G to start game mode. Move our player controller forward into the trigger and you can see that sphere moving across the screen. If we back out, that movement stops. Move back in, it starts again. You see the light coming on when we do this as well. Back on, it stops. And if we move in, we'll just sit here. Once we get sort of to that red area, we should see that sphere stop because it will have reached our tag point. So awesome, it worked. It was pretty easy to wire up, and you can see how combining a proximity trigger with tag points and entities could make something like a proximity activated sliding door really easy to get put into your level. Let's take this one step further. I want to open up the flow graph again. I'm going to right click on our proximity trigger, expand flow graphs, and open the FG prox. Instead of having leave just stop this move, let's have it do another move entirely. So I'll hold shift, I'll drag off of this to break those connections. I'll reconnect the disable for the light, and we'll add a couple more nodes. Let's move our GS sphere a little bit closer to the center of this screen. I want to do that because I'm going to come to the roll-up bar, click AI. I'm going to grab another tag point, and we'll shove this one over to the left, right there. I will really quickly paint the terrain underneath that one as well, just so we've got it all kind of uniform. I'll do that from a distance, so we won't be terribly accurate. Now that we've got that new tag point in the level, let's open up our flow graph. Again, we'll click proximity trigger, then right click and open up the flow graph. I'm going to slide this out of the way, select our new tag point, and then back in the flow graph, we'll right click and add selected entity. As you might have guessed, we're going to need another movement node as well, so in search keyword we'll type the word move. Expand movement, we'll grab move entity 2 and we will drag and drop it down here. Again, I need to choose the entity that refers to, so let's slide this out of the way. Select our GS sphere in the viewport, bring our flow graph back into view, and we can right click on choose entity and select assign selected entity. The wiring here is going to be the same as above, so let's take the position output of the tag point, put that into destination on the move entity 2. We'll set our speed to 2 here as well, so 2, and then make sure you press enter. And we'll take the leave pin of our proximity trigger and put that into start on that. And we'll also take the enter pin and put that into stop. We'll also need a connection from leave here to stop up above. So now what we should see is when the player is in the proximity trigger, the sphere should move over to the right, and when he leaves, the sphere should move back to the left. So it should sort of oscillate between the two depending on what state we're in. Let's cross our fingers and give this a go. I'll close the flow graph window, click out in the viewport, and press Ctrl G. So let's enter our volume. It's moving to the right, and then if we exit, it starts moving back toward the left. So if we let it move, we should see once it gets towards that blue painted area, it should stop there. It has indeed. Let's move back in, and it'll move back to the right. So with that all put together, you can really see how a proximity trigger plus a sliding door could be used to sort of open and close depending on the player's situation inside the level. Well, that's all I've got for tag points. They're a pretty handy way when you're using flow graph to not have to set integers and stuff on vectors. If you want to just place that tag point in your level, you can be sure of what it's going to look like and where it's going to be positioned without having to do the math. As always, I hope you can put it to use in your levels. I'm excited to see what you can do with it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comments below. Any requests for new videos, also drop them in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching.